Okay, so welcome to this week's episode of The Path Less Chosen, the podcast showing the careers they don't teach about in school. My name's Sol.
I'm Jamie.
And this week we have on Alex Brooks, or as you might know him, he is Marzbar, or the founder behind TechFlow, the YouTube channel. On both his channels, he's amassed 450,000 subscribers, and he is one of the most recognized tech influencers on the internet. I actually met him in a club in Turkey and already knew that he was going to be someone we wanted to get on the path as chosen. But then I saw some 17-year-old guy come up to him and tell him, hey, watched every single video, and I was like, okay, this guy's definitely a good guest. So Jamie, without further ado, what can we expect from this podcast?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Brilliant conversation coming up, I think. First key point that we're going to cover is how getting robbed changed his life. Secondly, how he monetized a career in YouTube. And thirdly, why subscribers aren't as important as actually just enjoying making the videos.
Yeah, spot on. Can't wait to get into it. Let's do it. So just before we get into the episode, I appreciate you're all very busy, but the only thing we would love from you while we're watching this is just to think of one person who might benefit from this episode. Maybe they're thinking about a career in YouTube, maybe they're thinking about posting online, or maybe you just think they could learn something from what Alex speaks about. So if you could pass the pod to just one of your friends, send it any way possible. We have an Instagram, or you can just send the episode itself, then we'd really, really appreciate it. And it would help so much in growing the pod and teaching people about careers they don't teach you about in school.
Well, without further ado, unreal to have you on, mate. First question would be, how has YouTube changed your life?
God, starting out strong. Massively, in so many aspects. Obviously, it's like a full-time job and has been for, I want to say 15 years. And I never thought as a young me it would ever turn into, well, I'd ever be sat here right now, like doing podcasts with you guys and stuff, asking about, my life and what's happened. It has brought me wealth. It has brought me friendships. It has lost me relationships. It has stressed me out. It has changed my life in so many different ways. My entire life revolves around content and has done for the last 15 years, really. I don't remember a time in my life where I haven't been interested in creating content for other people to watch. Whether it's like back in the day, like, I know it sounds silly, but when Facebook was big and people would do Facebook posts, you remember back when people were like Facebook famous and stuff like that? You'd have all your mates in school that were like, they'd make videos on Facebook and they'd just get shared around loads and stuff like that. And then people would become popular through that in school. And obviously I took to YouTube because back in the day I was more into the gaming stuff. So I used to make like gaming let's plays, montages and stuff. Are you guys into Call of Duty? Like sniper montages and stuff. So that's how I started. And like I say, it's changed my life in so many different ways. I've gone from like creating gaming content to doing like stand-up comedy in my bedroom to then doing like a vlog series about my whole life for a couple of years, where there was a video every single day without a day missed for a good couple of years. Toured New Zealand and Australia in that, did some incredible things there, jumping out of planes, bungee jumping, and every single day was a or has been just a complete story. So I owe my life to YouTube and the fans that have watched and kept it all alive, basically. And my team as well. Jed's behind me. He's been a part of the team for ages. So yeah, it's been massive. It's been massive.
I imagine that there's a lot of people listening that would have heard your answer to that and thought, this is something that I could do with going down. I'd love a lifestyle like that, right? So take us then back to the start of the journey, like what began it, what set it off, and then take us through the steps that's led you to where you are now.
So the start of it was, it goes way back. I'm probably talking, my love for videos has gone on from back in the day when you could only upload I think it was either 15 or 30-second videos to YouTube. I remember my internet was always rubbish, so I'd have to compress the videos before I'd upload them. They'd be in really rubbish quality. You couldn't really see anything. But back in the day when I was younger, I used to do little tutorials on tech. So I remember this one time I did this video. I think I read an article about, this was back when Wi-Fi was in its infancy and people were starting to get Wi-Fi in their houses. And I read this article where someone was putting tinfoil around the antenna to boost the signal. So I saw that and thought, oh, that's quite a cool idea. Then tried to make a little video on it and upload it from there. And that ended up getting not a lot of views. I think 1,500 views. But back when you're 8 or 9 years old, or however old I was back then, that's crazy. I can put this stuff on YouTube and people are watching it. Then I got an Xbox for Christmas one year. got into Call of Duty with my friends. Obviously went onto YouTube, started watching montages and people basically ripping up on there. Thought, oh, I can do this myself. And me and all my mates were into it. So we bought these little devices called capture cards. I think one of them back in the day was called an Easy Cap. And I don't know if you remember those, the three, you had the red, white and yellow cables. I remember one day my friend came into school who I was doing YouTube with at the time, just making videos. And he bought what was called a Hapag HD PVR, which back in the day, that was like the capture card to get. It was like HD, you could record your quality as if you're watching it on the TV. And I remember that blowing my mind. And then a couple of months later, I got one, started creating all this content on gaming. So it mainly all started from a love for creating content, people watching that content and gaining something from it, and then love for gaming as well and watching gaming content on the platform and thinking, hang on, I could do this myself. So that's kind of where it all started from, basically.
I was just going to push on the kind of next steps, right? So you started off in the gaming, and then I've read and I've seen you went then more into lifestyle. You did like some blogging stuff. You now obviously are doing with Tech Flow, tech reviews. Talk to us about the ideas that came around. Did you just continue to be creative and thought, there's an opportunity here, I could slightly expand the scope of what I'm doing content-wise? And then how did you progress that from what you were doing in gaming to creating channels that are now doing tech reviews?
Okay, yeah, so it's quite diverse. I've always thought to myself that you don't necessarily with YouTube want to put, this is quite expert thinking for such a young guy. Like, I haven't really got that much more intelligent, I don't think, from like 15 or 16 over the last... I know how to create a YouTube video, don't get me wrong, but intelligence-wise, back in the day, I think to myself, as a kid, I don't quite know how I came up with that. But I always thought to myself, I can have like a gaming channel, but then what if gaming on YouTube dies out? Let's create a separate channel that then also focuses on different things. I'm thinking I'm into tech. Originally, Tech Flow was called MBGTHD. My gaming channel was Marzbar Gaming, so it was MBG HD for obviously just the tech stuff back in the day, which now that has gone on to Tech Flow. But my original plan was to diversify into different things. So I'd have a channel doing tech. Back when I was doing this, like the channels weren't popping off. Like I had, let's say, 10,000 subscribers on my gaming channel. I was starting to introduce my face a little bit more to the channel. I had found that the videos where I'm doing like almost stand-up comedy in my room, reacting to people's comments, etc., doing like Twitter videos where I'd read people's replies on Twitter, and they're funny. It was just me stood up in my room with a camera and a tripod, just and a light, just filming myself in front of my window, just trying to be funny, basically. And I found that these videos on the channel performed loads better than the gaming stuff. The gaming stuff didn't do bad and it was easy to make. But the real life stuff, I noticed there'd be like a drastic jump in views. So then I thought, obviously, if I'm reviewing tech, that's me, like real life stuff, and it's about my interest. So that was how Tech Flow was basically born, or MBGHT, which then went to Tech Flow. It's all just my interest in tech and trying to diversify on the platform.
Yeah. I love that. And it's clearly started out as something that was a hobby, but also an interest. And then you've been able to create it into a career, right? And that's what we're about here, is being able to follow something that you're interested in and that you're actually going to really enjoy and turn it into a career. So if you don't mind me asking, at what point along the journey did you start monetizing this? And when did it become something that you could do as a viable career rather than going into a normal job?
Yeah, okay. So the first sign I had of sort of monetization or anything like that was through MBGTHD, the tech channel back in the day. Now, it wasn't actually somebody giving me a check for something, but it was being sent product. So companies had seen the videos and obviously made tech on stuff that I had about building computers and stuff and phones and cameras that I had. And then a couple of emails start pouring in. Hey, we like your videos. Can we send you? I remember back in the day, a company called Myonix. I don't even know if they exist anymore, but they made a range of computer peripherals, so mice and keyboards aimed at gamers. So they sent out a couple of those free of charge and said, look, make some videos on them. And obviously back in the day, then obviously I was young. And I remember having a vivid feeling of myself thinking, I've got this product box in my hand of this mouse. I haven't paid for that. And I've got, like back then when you got stuff like a new phone or a new anything, it's like, that's mental. So the fact that I'd had this thing that sent for free, and I'm thinking the only way I've got this is through making these videos. And if I hadn't made these videos, I wouldn't be in this position. That was my first taste of, wow, I'm actually doing something with this and it can go somewhere. Because up until then, it had been 1,000 views a video, a couple of comments from like a core audience who liked my stuff, and I'd obviously reply to them. I'd follow them on Twitter. I knew the people that commented on my videos, I knew them by name, right? Because they'd comment on every single one, and it was like a little community that I built up. But receiving those products for free, with the catch that, can you make some videos? Not really a catch, but they send it out and they're like, can you make some content on this. So obviously being young, I'm like, yeah, sound, that's unreal. Made content on these things. That then grew and grew and grew, which obviously making tech content, you've got to have the product here to review, right? So you've got to have stuff kicking about to get a sense of what it's actually like to portray that to an audience. So obviously we grew it through companies sending out products, and then obviously earning capital to buy our own products to review as well. But that was the first point of it, just receiving free products from companies where I thought this could really be something.
I love that. You remind me of when I started posting about a year ago, and I started posting about tech content, and I was like, well, the problem is I've got nothing. So I started reviewing all the things that I had currently, but I never got to the point where anyone would send anything out to me, which was always sad to me. But the interesting thing that I found during that, and a lot of people brought up to me, and I'd love to know about your journey with it, is you're this like kid moving into kind of a young adult, talking about tech, but with actually, if you don't mind me saying, no experience in tech. How do you like deal with maybe an imposter syndrome of authority, or feeling like you actually, maybe what's your right to be reviewing these videos? Have you ever had a struggle with that?
Yeah, it's interesting. And obviously there's nobody to look up to, right? So there's nobody I can go to for advice, whereas in a lot of other job roles, you've got people you can talk to or people that have been in that situation before, whereas with this, it can feel a bit like, yeah, who am I? Do you know what I mean? Like, who am I to be able to say A and Z about something? Because, you know, I'm not a tech guy, but I suppose people start to believe in you and follow you as time goes on, because they see, I mean, we've been making tech videos for 15 years now. So if I'm in a position to say I'm capable of talking about it, it's now versus back then. Do you know what I mean? So back then it was more of, I wasn't even sort of thinking about that. That's almost higher level thinking stuff, because I think these things now, but back then I was just focused on, right, what's the next piece of tech I can get, and what's the next video I can put out, and how can we keep this consistent, and how can we do 4 videos a month, 1 a week. Those were sort of the main goals back in the day. But yeah, more so now, imposter syndrome's a massive, you know, part of it. I think to myself, even just the character I'm playing on screen, is that a true representation of who I actually am? Does that even matter? Is it okay to play a character on YouTube? Am I Alex Brooks, and the people that watch me, do they want Marzbar? And are they two separate things, or is that a hybrid of me? So these are all things that I don't have the answers to, and make me think on a daily basis about, and are difficult because there's nobody to say, look, how do you actually deal with this mentally? Then how have you dealt with this? Because this is such a new thing. Like, the one thing I always say to people is, when people come and meet me in the street or see me out and about, they will approach me, and I absolutely love that. But the one thing I find really difficult is they know everything about you. They know how you speak. They know you right down to your voice cadence, and I know nothing. I don't even know their name. So they're trying to have a conversation with me about stuff, which I completely understand and I'm all open for, and I'll have a picture and stuff. But I find it hard to talk to people because they're just a bit like a deer in headlights, expecting me to say something. And I'm like, I don't know you. Like, with all due respect, and I get you're a fan, and I really, really appreciate that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they expect me to, you know, I don't. It's strange. That's how to say it anyway. It's like, yeah, you know, these people, they know everything about you, and it's like, it's just a bit odd.
I'm sure definitely the people knowing you in the street probably isn't relatable to that many people. But I think what is relatable is the sense of like imposter syndrome in a lot of people's jobs. Even if they have someone to look up to, sometimes people do feel like, how am I the person, I don't know, in a corporate job, how am I the person to be making a decision on my client's numbers or something like that? And I think it's really interesting that you say that your experience, 15 years of being in it, is what actually gives you the confidence in yourself. But it comes back to the fact that you talk about the consistency of posting for that 15 years. So talk to me about how you actually dedicated yourself and why you dedicated yourself to 15 years of posting. How did you show up every day?
If you wanted to talk about showing up every day, the daily vlogs are a good spin on that, because even me now, looking back on that, I have no idea how I even did that. So I'm not sure if you've seen a few of them back from 2015, but these weren't just like videos that I'd filmed on my phone and put clip A next to clip B and clip D and C and whatever, you know, just clips lined up. These were like mini movies with slow motion and editing and a storyline, and each video sort of had a purpose. So it was in that ecosystem where I said to myself, right, I've finished college now. I'm going to go to uni and carry on studying media. What I could do, at this point, YouTube wasn't enough to pay the bills, but I had 100,000 subscribers on a channel. So I was in this like weird limbo state where I'm thinking like I'm literally on the edge of having this as a job and I need to make a decision whether to go to uni. So what I decided to do was to take a gap year, where obviously most people go traveling and have a load of fun. This turns out to be the best decision of my life, and focus on YouTube. And just, even though I had 100,000 subscribers, but it's not enough to do YouTube full time, it's enough to almost take the plunge into it and say, if I throw everything at this, I can or could be doing this full time. And at the time, that's something that I wanted to do. I've always been an advocate of working for yourself. I've never liked the idea of having to go to work and someone else telling you what to do. I've only ever had one actual job myself, which was washing pots in a kitchen when I was like 15.
That's probably what put you off, Alex.
I think, yeah, it wasn't a good introduction to it, definitely. So the daily vlogs, I decided, how am I going to throw myself into this? Because the problem is, and I've felt this before, and every YouTuber feels this, burnout is a real thing. So you can have a great Q1 or Q2 of the year, making great videos and have some great ideas, but then Q3 rolls around and you're almost burnt out from putting so much effort into Q1 and Q2, and then you've also not got any ideas. So then you're trying to think of ideas and then you're thinking, oh, these ideas aren't as good as what I did 2 months ago. And even if they're not as good, you still need to get them written down on paper and do them. But to mitigate all of these issues that I knew would happen through the 5 years by now that I've been doing it, I thought to myself, what I'm going to do is, and I'd seen loads of other people doing this on the chat on the platform, was do daily videos. So there's no excuse then to have to think of belters, if that makes any sense, pieces of content, and also the audience then don't expect belters either, because they're thinking to themselves, well, this guy's putting in a shift uploading every day. So if today's video isn't very good, then there's going to be one in literally less than 24 hours anyway. So it sort of mitigates any of that. And I'm not saying the content was bad. It was actually, like I said at the start of the video, they were proper edited pieces. And it took every single day of my life, every single waking second. It ruined like my relationships at the time because I was solely focused on YouTube. Like this was anything and anyone else in my life came second to the video. Like my purpose, as soon as I started doing those daily vlogs, and this is when it started to all take off, by the way, like the subscribers started to go mental and the views went crazy. About the first 2 months into starting these daily videos, was every waking second was dedicated to making the videos every day, and was literally my only purpose on planet at the time, was in my mind, was to create these videos every single day, and it was second to going out with family meals, birthday parties. I've been thinking, but I'm not going to get a video out, so like it's just a no. And like I said, it ruined relationships with both like love relationships and friendly relationships. It got in the way of loads of family stuff, and every single day I was living as this YouTuber. So there almost wasn't much room in that entire period for me to sit down at the end of even just one day and be me for a second. So when I stopped doing the daily videos, that was when all of that stuff we talked about at the start about the imposter syndrome starts to come in. Because then I've stopped it all, and I'm not doing this daily content anymore where I'm being Marzbar, and it was like a strange adjustment to then trying to become a normal human again. Because let's face it, doing a video every day and trying to think of something to do every day and actually doing something every single day is just not a normal thing that anybody does. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has a day of the week, whether it's on the Sunday or just a day just to relax and focus on themselves and their mindset. And I didn't allow for any of that. Do I regret it? No, because I'm in the position that I'm in now, which is amazing. But I wish I would have focused a bit more on relationships and stuff, because they are an important part of life. But like I say, at the time, I literally felt like my entire purpose was everybody every day is waiting for the next video, so I need to make sure this is out on time and edited. And I edited them all myself for the year as well, so it'd be a case of getting up at 9 in the morning, being ready to film by 10, planning some sort of video, filming it, getting home, then editing that, and then uploading the previous day's video, and then editing that video to upload the next day, and then the clock just rolls round. So it really was a vicious cycle of videos. And like I say, look back now, I have no idea how I even achieved that, because I couldn't do it now. Not a chance.
Yeah. I mean, it's so fascinating to listen to, though. Like, wow, for anyone that's like thinking that maybe sees like the surface level of where you're at now and thinks, I'd love to do that, to actually get a glimpse into the amount of sacrifice and dedication it's taken is obviously so important, right? And one of my next questions was going to be, do you regret it? So interesting to hear like how you've answered that there. But I think then to follow up and push slightly more on that is if there was somebody who was maybe at the start of that journey now and thinking, God, I'm making a lot of sacrifices here. Maybe it is like putting some strains on some of my relationships. Is it worth it? Maybe it'd be useful if you could just share, like, what was your motivation during that time? Why did you like continue to push through and continue to make those sacrifices? What did you have like an end goal in mind that you knew you were working towards? And how can someone else do the same?
Yeah. So the way I would put that is, back in the day, I wouldn't have been able to tell myself why I was doing it. If you'd have asked me in the midst of it all, I wouldn't have been able to give you a reason. But now I know that the reason why I did it was because I was trying back then when this is like the period between 16 and 18, right? So you're kind of a bit free. If you're a drinker in a party, you're starting to go out on weekdays and weeknights with your friends and drinking and stuff and having a good time, like live while you're young sort of thing. My version of that was to create videos. So I missed out on a lot of activities with friends and stuff between that period of like 16 to, let's say, 20, to be fair, and focused on making those videos to lay the foundations for what I wanted, because I knew that I wanted to do this, and I knew that even if I didn't want to do it, I'm a balls deep now anyway, so may as well crack on. It would be a bit stupid to put, by this time I've got, let's say I'm halfway through the vlogging career of that 2-year period. I've now got 250,000 subscribers. TechFlow's also doing well on the back burner. So what I'm trying to do in that time frame there, whilst I'm young and whilst everyone else is out partying and having a good time, is really trying to lay the foundations for this now, really, because now I'm sat here and I'm 27 and I'm still creating content, which is exactly what I want to do. I'm supporting my friends, Jed behind me as well, who helped me create content, and that is just incredible. But none of that could happen without laying that groundwork to start with. And I really feel like I wouldn't be where I am nowadays if I didn't put all of that work in. I'm not saying you have to. A lot of it is luck. When I have friends that come to me and say, I want to start doing even just social content, reels and stuff, you could make the most insane content in the world and stick it out and it could not do anything. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm telling myself about my content, Alex.
So obviously, if you ask me how mine blew up, it wasn't because I in a lot of it was because of hard work. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but I had what I like to call a catalyst video, which was like a video which just did really well. So this was a video where I got robbed, and I was actually in the house when I got robbed. I uploaded this as a video, and I remember it sitting not stagnant. It got a normal amount of views for the channel at the time. This is talking 2014, so just before it all blew up, basically. I was doing the stand-up stuff in my room and the gaming on the side. Minecraft videos and stuff like that, let's plays on Minecraft and stuff. Anyway, my stepmother goes out the house, doesn't lock the door. Someone comes in the house, they've obviously seen her leave, gone and tried the door's open, they don't know I'm in there. I hear someone in the house, I start shouting and I see someone run out the front door. So the first thing I do is grab my camera because I'm in YouTube mode, let's get this on film. Made that video, uploaded it, it sat on the channel, standard amount of views as all the other videos for about a month, and then it just went bang, 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 bang. And I remember everybody sending me pictures of it on the homepage of YouTube. Couple months later, it's on like 5 million views or something. And that was what got me from that sort of 20,000 subscriber mark, which, don't get me wrong, is still great, up to that 100k. So obviously a lot of people saw me in that, okay, this is, I don't know what they thought, maybe some funky little weird guy, let's see if he makes other videos as well. They've probably gone to the channel, seen my gaming stuff, seen my stand-up stuff. And that was obviously the catalyst which got a lot of people over to the channel. So a lot of it, in the advice sort of category for making content, is just be consistent with it, because yes, you may upload a load of videos which don't do very well, but then you may get one video that does out of those 20 videos or more, so 100 that you've uploaded. Then one does really well, everybody sees that and then comes to the channel and says, oh, this guy does loads of other stuff as well. So it's more about trying to create one piece of content to catapult you, if that makes sense, into the YouTube world so everybody can see you. It's almost like a paid ad. It's just one of your bits of content's blown up and it's doing it for you.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, isn't it? That there's that like one bit. And I think there's also the thing that people get known for, right? Like you get known for being that person, and then people kind of fall into your funnel. But you say about luck, but at the same time, you created those hundreds of videos before the funnel that people fall into once they get that top video, right?
Yeah, you've got to do it. Like, if I wasn't creating content to start with for a small audience, I might not have even picked my camera up when I was being robbed. So it's like, if you want to do it, obviously you've got to do it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like doing it on YouTube nowadays, because of the absolute oversaturation of it all, and especially now with not new anymore, but reels and vertical content. I mean, everyone and their dog makes videos, right? Like my stepmom uploads more on her Instagram story than I do, and it's my job. Like, it's a bit mental, really. Everybody does it. So therefore now the standards are really high with content. But again, I wouldn't let that put people off. I'd just say that you could spend 2 years of your life making content and it could do you absolute wonders. And you could also spend 2 years of your life making absolutely amazing content and it might not do anything. That's just the luck side of it. And you are at the mercy of the algorithm. That's it. Like that's what decides what happens. It is the algorithm and decides the fate of the channel, basically.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that really nicely brings me on to one of the things that I like, looking into the world and speaking to a lot of people in the world. How do you feel about the instability of having your brand and the way you earn money on another platform? One of our friends who we actually got on this podcast, Connor, has actually just had his account hacked and someone else has verified a fake account, and all of a sudden his whole IP on Instagram is gone. So how do you deal with the day-to-day instability and fear of like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have income coming in next month because of the algorithm, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually have a really good story to tell. I actually got hacked myself. It wasn't hacked actually, but it's a very, very similar thing. So this is back when I was doing the gaming content again, around 20,000 subscribers, just trying to have a laugh in my room, obviously making a gaming video on Just Dance. So I'm there dancing like a loony in my room. Didn't realise that I'm thinking I'm playing a game here, so they're going to have the rights to all the songs. Uploaded those to YouTube, and I think I did 3 separate episodes of this Just Dance series, and each single episode got a full-on copyright strike. And now there's 2 separate like copyright strikes on YouTube, how it works. One of them is just like, right, okay, you've used this song in your video. This is how in 99% of cases go nowadays. Right, I've used, let's say, an Ed Sheeran song in my video. YouTube's picked up on that. Then now what we'll do is we're just going to give all the royalties from this video to Ed Sheeran and his label. Sound, okay. And the channel stays intact. But if somebody submits an actual claim to your channel, a strike, as they call it, you get 3 of these. 3 strikes and your channel's terminated. Like gone, like deleted. And in the YouTube TOS, you're not allowed to create another channel. Like, you've been banned off YouTube, basically. So I was there, absolutely loving my life. 20,000 subscribers, young kid, getting a bit of traction on the platform. Upload these Just Dance videos, bash 3 strikes like that, channel's terminated. So I'm like, what do I do? Like, I was at a massive turning point in my life. I remember trying to get my dad to sign up for a YouTube account, and I was saying to him, look, we'll pretend that you own the account in case any legal stuff comes up. Not that anything was going to happen anyway. But I remember obviously that being a massive turning point for me, and it's like my heart was in my stomach, because I was just thinking, like, I'm probably not going to, like, my favourite thing in the world, making videos, I've just been banned off the platform. Cheers for playing Just Dance as well. Like, it's not like I was trying to, like, actually copyright or do something mental. It was literally just playing Just Dance. So it's like, it was such a bad situation. But yeah, it can. That's the thing. The instability of the platform and being exposed to the algorithm, you are at the mercy of it. And it is all computers. Like, some person didn't ban that account. It was just the algorithm in the background listened to the video, heard a couple of songs from some big name artists, and for whatever reason didn't go through the normal channels. They actually submitted strikes on the videos and took the channel down with 3 strikes. So you do have to be really careful.
I've got to ask there, like, how did you get your channel back? Like, how come you're still on YouTube?
Yeah, so I got in touch with someone I'm still good friends with and work with now, who runs a management company, and he had some ins at YouTube. So he messaged them, and it was a long time. By this time, I'd made another channel called Brooks TV, and that had already started to do quite well. Not quite well, but a lot of people had subscribed, had come over. Because obviously I still had Twitter and stuff, so I was updating everybody on what had happened. And I made this another small channel called Brooks TV. I probably had that for 2 or 3 months. It got some subscribers, and I still had the same views, but it never got the same amount of subscribers that my main Marzbar channel did. Because a lot of them just came from that robbing video, like I explained earlier. And then one day, after all these emails that my friend Jack had sent out to YouTube to his contacts there, one day the account just flashed back live again. No strikes on it, and it was just there. And I knew, because I remember I was on holiday at the time, I was on the beach, And people were tweeting me like screenshots of. So if you went to youtube.com/Marzbar Gaming, it would just say this account has been terminated in red letters. So people were tweeting me pictures of youtube.com/Marzbar Gaming with the channel there and all the videos there. And I remember being on my sun lounger and I looked at it and I thought, it's Photoshop or someone's doing something weird with it. Typed it into actual YouTube and the channel came up. Tried to log in because obviously I wasn't logged into it anymore. Tried to log in straight back in. So obviously someone at YouTube had seen it and brought it back, which I genuinely don't know if that would happen again. I don't know how that happened. I was so lucky to meet Jack. I was so lucky for him to have his contacts at YouTube. I was so lucky for then somebody to even at YouTube bother taking a look at a channel that's got 20,000 subscribers and see why it's got 3 strikes on it and possibly come to the resolution. But I never got told anything. It just came back. That's the story of that. So yeah, that was awful, and things like that can happen. Like we have bad months. Like I spent so much money and time on a video at the start of this year. I built a sauna in the garden. Thought that video would do really well. Slightly out my niche, which is more technology stuff, but still a cool thing to do. Can I turn this mouldy shed into a sauna? Sound. Didn't do very well compared to all the other videos. So it's like you're not only at the mercy of the algorithm, but to learn the algorithm, you've got to learn what your niches are, like you've already mentioned. And it's best to have separate channels. So if I'm doing a channel where it's just me chatting about current life events, I could have my blog channel, which is basically what a blog channel is. If I'm doing tech videos, you put those on the tech channel, and that's what your tech channel is. If I started uploading both of those videos to the same channel, let's say, the algorithm would notice, okay, the videos that have got tech in do really well, and that those videos where I was just talking to the camera about life events don't do very well. So we're not going to bother even pushing those to the people that are subscribed. Because when you go on YouTube nowadays, it's, yes, you feel like you subscribe to people, but YouTube is just showing you what you want to see. And to be honest, it's very bloody good at it. Like there's very little times I go onto YouTube now and use the search bar. I go onto YouTube and what I want to watch is on the home screen somewhere. Because it over time it just like this is Google we're talking about, so like their algorithms are just off the charts, almost a bit scary. Like so you're at the mercy of that, but there's obviously things you can do to help it. Create videos in your niche, look at what videos perform well and what videos don't. YouTube analytics is very good. Look at what days work best for your uploads. For us on Tech Flows, Saturdays are a no-go. We just would, if we can, we just wouldn't upload on a Saturday. Whether that's just Tech Flows niche or a lot of people are just out on Saturdays, I don't know, but that's what the back end says. So there's all these different things, even down to the hours of the day. You can see when your subscribers are most active, and so you're probably aware of all this. So there's things you can do to help your videos get pushed out into the algorithm, but it can work against you sometimes, but it's just part and parcel of it. Like it's just it's you against the algorithm and trying to get your videos out there. That's the goal. Trying to get the views up. And
sorry to interrupt our guest there, but we just wanted to share one thing with you. If we could ask a massive favor, you might have seen on our social media recently that we've began a mailing list. So what we'd ask that you do, if you've seen that and you've not yet signed up, if you could go and find the link, and we'll share it onto our social medias regularly. If you could go on there, drop your email, and it just ensures you'll never miss an episode of any of our new guests that may lead you down a path less chosen yourself, or that you'll be able to share with friends. So if you could sign up to that mailing list, it'd be fantastic in us sharing the episode with you. Back to the episode. I love how we've discussed a lot of things that maybe if people see that we're talking to like a well-known YouTuber that's doing content that's getting loads and loads of views, they feel like they're going to listen in and listen to what an incredible lifestyle you live that's always, on the up. And I think it's so important that we've discussed bits like burnout and like stuff like being at the mercy of the algorithm, where you've made it clear, this career you've had to work so hard to do. It's not really easy like some people might think, right? And so I'd be interested to know then, moving forward, how does the plan look for you in the next 5 years? Particularly talking about things like burnout, right? Do you think you're going to be able to keep this going another 15? How does the future look for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. So at the moment, I'm sort of taking every day as it comes because everything's doing quite well at the moment. So I'm just trying to maintain that. I'm definitely on sort of like just the maintain train at the moment, trying to keep it going as it is. Obviously, I would love to grow it, but at the moment it does well as it is. And with more followers and more views comes more drama and a lot of things like that. And I'm not doing this to be famous. Like that's the last thing I want. I don't want people to know who I am. I don't want to show off. That doesn't interest me at all. I just like making videos. So as long as I can keep my health in check and I'm still around, and the people are still there to watch the videos, I don't necessarily see it stopping. So as long as we can maintain that relationship with our audience, in that we're providing, like I said, fun content that's also educational, maintain good relationships with brands, so we have product to make content on, keep our health in good fit, So, I'm still here to make videos. Those are all the things that I'm focusing on at the moment. And like I say, for me, it's not a massive numbers game. Like, I try not to focus on the numbers so much. And I know a lot of YouTubers focus massively on the algorithm. Like, a lot of YouTubers will live more inside of YouTube analytics than they do actually behind the camera making the content. And for me, I don't like having 400,000 subscribers and 1 million subscribers would feel the same to me. Like, I feel like for me, it's done well, and that's all I wanted it to do. I'm not after like numbers. I don't want to get like 1 million views a video and have my face plastered all over YouTube, or 1 million subscribers and everybody know who I am and I can't go to the shops without someone coming up to me. It's more like I prefer to have a bit of a niche audience that like the stuff that I'm into, which is tech and home stuff and smart home and all these bits and bobs that I'm into, and cater for them and just grow it slowly like that. Like I say, I'm not thinking to myself, right, in 5 years' time, I want to have 1 million subscribers. That's not where I'm at with it. And if people think that, then they've got the wrong end of the stick. I just enjoy making content.
I know exactly what you mean. And I guess like that perfectly brings us on to the last question. We'd love to wrap up with an idea of if you were to go back in time, it could be from even when you started posting or whenever you want. What's one thing you do the same? What's one thing you do differently? And what's one thing you tell yourself to motivate yourself?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Start with differently then. I would have focused more on the people around me in that period of my life, I think. But then again, would I? Because if I did that, then it might not have spiraled into where I am now. But that was a massive part of it, was maybe just paying attention to my friends and family more in that period and not working so hard, if that makes any sense. Not to put people off. I mean, hard work is how you get there, but there's a line, right? And I think you need to know your limits and try and not burn out and not go every single day with it. That's what I would have said to myself if I could have done it again. What would I have done the same? The daily vlogs. I would have. That's how it banged. That's the thing, they sort of contradict each other, because I'm saying I wouldn't have done the daily vlogs, but I couldn't have not done them. That's what I mean. It really set the foundation for everything that I've got now. And the videos that I make now wouldn't be in this position without them. So to spin that, I would say keep consistent instead of doing a video every day, because that's mental. Just the consistency is the main thing. Just film it and actually do it. And then if you have made the video and you don't like it once you've made it, then don't put it out, but don't get stuck on the idea.
It's super good advice, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, and it was genuinely a very useful episode. I think anyone who's trying to get a career in YouTube, either on social media or just general takeaways, is to staying consistent and where it can land you. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.
Lovely, guys. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Really enjoyed that episode. Fascinating to listen to Alex. So that brings me on then to the key takeaways. And I think the first one I would put out is like part of that hardship was the sacrifice that he's made along the way. He spoke a lot that he faced a little bit of burnout. He say no to going out with friends, with family, like even just for family dinners and stuff like that. And I think, that must have put a big stress and strain on some of the relationships and his lifestyle at the time. That must have made things quite difficult for him, but he kept persevering through it, and for him it was worth doing, and it's got him to where he is now, right?
Yeah, spot on. I think the sacrifice is such an interesting thing, because I don't think we want to be pro people taking sacrifices that affect their relationships, but it is a very common theme that we see through most people, that at some point they've got their head down for a significant amount of time and had to put other parts of their life on a back burner. So yeah, a kind of a takeaway with a sprinkle of hesitancy or caution, I think is
something to be cautious of. Exactly.
Yeah, spot on. Okay, well, I think that nicely brings me on to, although you might have those periods where you're going hell to leather, but at the same time, to take away from him, and he said it so many times, is the consistency aspect. Like, I've seen it in what I'm doing, I'm sure you've seen it, Jamie, and everything you've done, is that like if you commit to showing up every day and doing something, there's no chance that within a certain amount of time you're not going to be succeeding at it. And he said that the one thing he was happy that he did was doing that piece every single day, doing the daily vlogs. And I love that, and I think it's so applicable to any job, especially if you're not in a kind of salaried working 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, no, I like that. A lot of the people that we've spoken to that have gone down different careers have demonstrated that they've given it a lot of consistency and dedication, and that's clearly what it takes, right, to make this into something that's going to be a successful career. So I like that one. So if you don't mind, I'll throw out the final one, which I felt was a really poignant message. Whereas whatever path that's chosen you might be going down, I think it's important to have the right motivations. And he touched on it at the end, like he has no interest in fame. He has no interest in like, kind of numbers don't really make a difference for him, which I thought was quite a strange thing for someone who like relies on an algorithm, views, and YouTube as a career. To say that numbers don't mean anything to you is a strange thing. But the way that he said it and like his mindset towards it, I think is really important, because actually it's because if he just enjoys the process and what he's actually doing, then it means that you don't like kind of lose sight of what you started doing it out as right at the beginning. He did it when he was a little kid because he just enjoyed doing it, and that's what's led him now to being able to make that into a career. I think maybe once you lose sight of that and have the wrong motivations, something like fame and money, maybe then you lose that enjoyment and it's suddenly, you know, a less attractive career or a path less chosen.
Couldn't agree more. I think we say it's the most classic phrase ever, enjoy the process, but at the end of the day, why are we doing anything? Why don't you just kind of take a salary job doing something you hate? Well, it's because you actually enjoy doing the job, and you can't lose sight of that. Otherwise, I don't think the path less chosen is actually a path worth following. So to smash in an unbelievable line there, but just to sum up those takeaways, I would say, so we've got sacrifice, accepting sacrifice, committing to consistency, and then also making sure you have the right motivations. So yeah, unbelievable episode, mate. Thank you very much, Alex, for coming on. Really enjoyed another amazing guy doing a career who's following his passions, fallen into it as a young kid. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more Alexes and more people on their Path Less Chosen coming on.
Thank you once again for reaching the end of another episode of the Path Less Chosen pod. One thing we just want to quickly ask for at the end is that you may have seen recently on our social medias, we've begun a mailing list, which is just to ensure that you never miss any of the unique careers and guests that we get on our podcast, and that may inspire you to go down your own Path Less Chosen. So if you have seen that link, and we'll regularly post it on our social media channels, just click on that link, drop your email, and it will land in your inbox every week so you can listen to each episode. Thank you.